No, I'm just trying to
yeah,
throw
because
clues
he was
out.
talking about
Okay.
the technology to prevent a future asteroid collision, and how one of the things that's important for that is for private industry to move forward with their plans to mine asteroids, because that's the same tech. If they can make that technology profitable, then we'll have that resource to potentially like nudge an asteroid out of our path.
If you're
Because
mining asteroids, you might be putting them in orbit or something.
that'd be cool. That's
Right?
that would be. I don't know if that's possible. I don't even know if that's safe. Like, is that the? I wouldn't trust GE to do that. Would you? Like if I heard so General Electric has brought a 8 kilometer asteroid, mostly composed of titanium and rare earth elements. Not on Earth though, is it? Into our close Earth orbit. If you look into the northern skies early in the evening, you can see it. And what if they miscalculate and it fucking falls into the Pacific Ocean? Well, no more Californians.
I hear you. I wonder how. I don't know. I really don't have a good grip on Earth's atmosphere's ability to burn things. Like, I know that it burns most stuff, right? Things are hitting us all the time and they never land. If you wanted to get rid of a satellite, just nudge it towards Earth. It burns up, doesn't hit the ground. Everything's fine. How far does that extend? Does that reach mineable asteroids?
No, it doesn't. That stuff that's several hundred meters big, that stuff makes it through. Like you see those a lot collide. Like if it's starting, I think when it enters the Earth, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but roughly speaking, if it enters the atmosphere and it's 100 meters, it's gonna hit. Now that's not a world-ending type thing, but something that's 1 kilometer, I think that destroys an entire city. Like that's London gone.
No, that would like destroy so much more than the entire city, right? Because when you get to a critical mass, it's not so much the initial impact, it's the seismic fallout and then like the dust clouds and things that ruin environments. Am I talking out my ass? Does that sound right?
I know I would be if I were talking now. That's
well, here we are. I was just reading about Go Gepley Bepley or whatever the fuck that is.
Go Blecky Techie or something.
I'm
going to
start reading. This is so fascinating.
Get the book, dude. I've got the book on. I got it from Audible. All right.
Oh, and Audible and get it.
The cool. So Graham Hancock is he's got a nice reading voice and he's very passionate about this. He's traveled the world. So one of the things is like a lot of the stuff that he talks about. Modern archaeologists has really shit on this guy for a long time until slowly they found more and more evidence to support his theories. They found the asteroid craters. They found the sites like the one in Turkey, and so he's very passionate about this. But he's been getting shat on his entire career until like the last 5 years or something like that. And so hearing him read this stuff is great. Chiz just got his newest book, and I think it focuses more on the Americas, and he believes that there were humans in the Americas 130,000 years ago. It's very interesting stuff. I really like the guy.
I have asteroid stats. So an asteroid the size of a car would burn up and it's not a problem. An asteroid the size of a house would flatten most buildings within 1.5 miles of ground zero. So I would have thought a house-sized asteroid would be not a big deal. That may burn up, but I don't know. An asteroid the size of a 20-story building would leave a wake the size of Paris, and if it's a football field, you'll feel it 1,000 miles away. 7.7 magnitude earthquake. I mean to say, and a half mile would be a global problem.
Yeah,
so I would think that you wouldn't mine anything less than a football field, right? And that's real dangerous.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. Are you familiar with the Tunguska event?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I just saw it. It's like 1908 or something like that.
Yeah.
No, me too. I'm also familiar with this.
So the Tunguska event, it is this asteroid struck Siberia in like early 1908, and it was sort of, no one knew about it because Siberia is a gargantuan unpopulated area.
Tuskegee experiments.
No, that's different. That's when they came up with that harebrained idea of putting a black man in an aeroplane.
The Manhattan Project.
It'll never work.
The Manhattan Project. That's close.
Grease everywhere.
So let's name experiments that we're familiar with. No, sorry.
The Tunguska event is where this asteroid struck Siberia in 1908, and it flattened a gargantuan area. It did this thing called airburst. It didn't strike the ground. It blew up in the atmosphere. Like it was coming in. It got so hot. It didn't. I don't understand the physics behind this sort of thing, but it went boom, and it went boom like a big nuclear weapon. and it flattened this enormous area. And when I say flattened, I mean
770 square miles.
of trees laid over flat. And nobody knew about it because there weren't any fucking people out there. And it wasn't until like there's pictures of it. And they figured, a bunch of people went deaf and shit, and their windows got
So it made
got shattered.
sound.
It was very loud.
The trees fell over and it made sound. No one was there. All right.
Yeah. I see. I got you now. Yeah. But something like that had happened over, a major city. It's gone. It's going to happen one of these days, and it's going to be disaster porn. It's going to be the worst thing we've ever seen in our lifetimes. 100%. Like that. The biggest disaster I think in my lifetime was the tsunami in like 2004. That hit.
Was it that long
Indonesia?
ago?
I think it was, and it hit into the Indonesian tsunami. My guess is it's 2004.
Okay.
Because I want to say I was in high school when it happened. I think.
I want to talk. I'm not sure
that
if I'm
killed
on
like
the
a
same
quarter
one.
million.
I thought I was on YouTube when it happened.
Well, there was another one
Uh-huh.
later on, whose date I'm not sure about at all. Maybe 2010. There was another tsunami.
2004 is the one you're referring to. Yeah,
Yeah, 2004 is the one that killed like roughly a quarter
killed over
million people.
200,000 people.
Good
Yeah.
gosh. Now, how big is the one I'm thinking of? I have like.
It was smaller, but
thought
pretty
it was
serious.
6 digits. Am I crazy?
I don't know. And then there was the Fukushima disaster where that tsunami hit Japan and the reactors went critical. And the Japanese are so fucking proud that they were like, "Oh, no problem here." And meanwhile, like now they're sending like those 80-year-old men in because they don't have enough life left to matter to like go in there and clean
honorable.
up waste.
Yeah,
It's
that's very
honorable, but it's to a fault. Like it's like
To a fault.
What
This is the
Not to a fault,
situation that
that's-
we're in. Yeah, like
that's
how about a
Selfless.
fucking robot, you Japs? Man, how about asking the international community for a little help, like a week before things went crazy upside down shitty, instead of being like, "Oh, we are very good at the nuclear physics. We no American help. No, thank you. We learned our lesson the last time." Like,
Apparently,
no.
there were floods in China in 1931 that killed 1 to 4 million people.
Well, there was I think it might be Mao who what did he do? Oh,
Well, I know he was a no good Nick.
No. He did this one thing that was crazy that created this huge famine. I could have this a little backwards or wrong or mixed up, but you know how it
Don't let
goes.
that stop you.
I want to say he wanted all these birds killed, and so he like passed out like 22 caliber rifles like in mass and had all these birds shot because the birds were eating the grain. And the result was the birds didn't just eat the grain, they were eating the grasshoppers. And so now the grasshoppers went wild and they really ate all the grain. And it created a famine that killed like 10 million people or something like that.
Oh, wow. This is hilarious. So, one of the first actions, well, I guess not hilarious isn't the best word.
there goes your
Chinese.
political
One
career.
of the first actions taken in the Great Leap Forward in China from 58 to 62 is called the Four Pests Campaign. And they wanted to kill rats, flies, mosquitoes, and sparrows. And the destruction on such a level of those four things resulted in part of what was the Great Chinese Famine. Like I had no idea that they were just killing all the animals they needed to.
China rolls the dice with the environment like that. It's interesting. Like they're not afraid of public opinion. Like in America,
what's gonna happen?
if you say like, "Look, we're getting rid of all the salamanders," they're like, "You don't understand how important salamanders are." Like, yeah, I guess I don't. Like, I don't think anything will happen. But they do it over there. Now they're doing
What
that.
that salamander? What that go? Hey, look at me funny. Kill them all.
Every once in a while, I like get into watching either natural disaster videos or dam failures, and they're just the most interesting video. Like like tsunamis and dam failures. I'll find myself on that YouTube rabbit hole sometimes, and it's like conceptually you understand, like, man, that amount of water, that amount of force suddenly bursting through a dam, that's got to create a ton of damage. But like you don't fully get it until you see it, and it's like giant, like excavator sized, like in a mine, like not normal sized 18-wheeler trucks. Like they just get tossed like they're nothing at all. And the people, just tiny little specks. It's like that water's carrying rocks bigger than your house like you're
You know
Yeah.
what the ultimate is for you
unimaginably
then.
powerful.
So do you know about the Three Gorges Dam in China?
Yes, I've read about
The world's
that one.
largest dam. If someone were to say launch a few rockets at it and make it fail, do you know how many people are in the direct path of the largest tidal wave of modern history?
Yeah.
400 million in the direct path of the tidal wave. It's a real problem for China if they got into like a global war with someone who's capable of, blowing up a dam from the other side of the world.
Was it Sri Lanka that had that tsunami that killed like 200,000 people? Do you guys remember
Indonesia, but it was the whole like area. The tsunami was so goddamn big. That was 2000.
2004.
Like 11 or something.
That's the year I graduated. I
Japan
remember
was
our
2011.
yearbooks had that shit in it. It was dark.
There's a movie called The Impossible with Ewan McGregor where it was a real life family that got affected by that, and
I saw that.
Dude, if there's another huge tidal wave, we're gonna get so much great footage.
Of course, it was. They made a
Everyone
movie
has
with a white
cameras
family.
now.
They made a movie about the Indonesian tsunami with a white family star.
yeah.
Dude, the videos, like some of the clips, it's from like the Thai tsunami, I think, or maybe the Japanese one, I don't remember. But like you can see people taking like vacation videos, and they're still on the beach, and like it's just a small amount coming in, and it's like a horror movie. You're watching like I know what's gonna happen in like 2 hours, and it's almost too late for
You're
this
watching
person.
somebody get dressed to go to the Twin Towers. Almost, you're like,
Yeah.
"No, no,
It's when the water falls back, you know,
Yeah.
you're fucked. Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, like it's swelling up, it's about to come in hard,
if
and then,
you're
like
not
even the
from
water
there-
pullback is enough to like pull cars across the road.
If you're not from there, I look at it and I'm like, would I make good decisions, right? Obviously, watching the video in hindsight, I can make good decisions. But if I was there and I didn't know, am I confident I'd recognize a water pullback on some beach I don't normally go to?
I would.
For
I would
these,
start
it
running
seems-
because I've seen the movies now. I've seen
Yeah.
How quickly does it pull
Yeah.
back? Does it pull back over the course of 40 minutes? Is
No,
it
no, no.
it's
Like
pretty fast.
right now, the ocean gets eaten. Like you're like, whoa, what's happening? What's happening right now? Oh, that's what happens before a tsunami. The ocean just got taken away. Everyone flee. Hey, everyone flee, tsunami. And then you run as fast as you can.
I need to see it because if it happens like you say, and in like 5 minutes the ocean's pulled
Less.
back like that, or less, God, I definitely know. But maybe I'm wrong. I thought it took longer. I thought it took like 40 minutes for the ocean to withdraw like that.
No.
It's pretty fast. Yeah.
It's pretty fast.
To get a little morbid with you, would you rather die peacefully in your bed, or would you rather die like seeing a fucking enormous comet coming to hit the
Oh,
earth?
the comet. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. 1,000 times the other one.
I'm with you.
1,000 times the other one. Let me tell you why. All right, so I'm going to make up a scenario. You can co-sign it if you want, but the scenario is like the asteroid's coming and it's going to like knock humanity out. If 3 months to go, I would love that. That's so much better than dying peacefully in my sleep. I get 3 months of like craziness, doing whatever the fuck I want. I get to see the coolest fireworks show of all time. I'm not going to try to be one of the privileged few to starve in the bunkers in
the Greenland
30
tunnels.
years. I'm gonna get on a high mountain somewhere and I'm gonna fucking watch that shit go down. I'm gonna be drunk and high and get my dick sucked. It's gonna be great. All
Just
right?
witnessing something like that would be incredible. So, like, I don't know. I
This
think
might work out because I'd like to be on a mountain sucking dick when it happens.
Yeah.
I knew that was your greatest wish.
There's a really good movie.
Here we come.
There's a really good movie called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World with Steve Carell, where humanity knows that a comet's coming in like 3 weeks, and it just kind of examines what different people do. And it's really fucking. They go to a restaurant, and everybody there is just tripping on fucking Molly.
Loud music, just at fucking Applebee's. Everyone's
Yeah,
on their credit cards. I would much rather die peacefully.
Oh, the
in
economy
my
would
sleep.
immediately crash, and then there would be mass hysteria if they found out. That's what would actually happen. There would be mass hysteria because there would be a run on the banks because all of a sudden there would be rapid hyperinflation. Not like, oh, bread's expensive this week. Like, I don't have any money anymore because money's not worth anything.
Why would there be a run on the banks? Because wouldn't money instantly become
Yeah,
valueless. Like no,
because right away the
there'd
banks
be a
would start
run on Walmart and Walgreens, and
because
Yeah.
to try to preempt what is inevitable, the governments would try to freeze the money in the banks, and it would get out that they were going to freeze that money. So people would say, "They're not freezing my money. I'm going to go get it," and then there'd be a run on the banks, and they would still freeze all the money, and then the economy would crash anyway.
would the
And
government even be functioning at that point? Like,
no, you would have military outposts. It'd be complete mass hysteria. If everyone would melt down, who was the government fighting? It'd be just the populace at large. And what are they fighting for? Bread and TVs, probably. If
and
I'm
how
just being
long are
honest.
those military men going to be following orders when it's
Nobody's
like,
getting paid. It's that episode of
maybe
Rick
I
and
won't
Morty.
do this. Yeah,
It's that
Dude, I
episode of
do
Rick and
think,
Morty
though-
when he changes a 1 to a 0. That's what happens when
I
the
do
world
think-
ends in 3 weeks.
I do think there'd be a ton of service members that would show up and volunteer to like keep order.
No, they got
maybe
families.
initially.
They got
but-
families.
Yeah,
And some of them
We're all
don't have
going-
like strong family ties.
Then
You don't
they-
think
they
that there
might-
would be people that would like be, now's my moment, I'm going to do the right thing. Like, I swear.
No.
or
no.
people who would see an opportunity to be like, yeah, I can be a very brief window warlord,
No.
and you'd have like splintered groups of
Everybody's
gangs,
going home to
effectively.
their families, and then they're going to do what they have to do to keep their families alive and well fed and safe, which means killing each other. So it's just going to be a shit show. There's not going to be a, like some military position where it's like, yeah, sir, for king and for the commander in chief and our no red, white, and blue. It's like the whole world's going to explode in 3 weeks. You're going
Do
to
you
go home
think-
to your mom.
Do you think that, did you guys see the movie Greenland, by the way? It kind of
No.
No, but I saw the end of that movie with Brad Pitt with the zombies, where I think they
Yeah.
also went to Greenland.
Is
that
Greenland,
Gerard- is that-
Greenland,
is that-
Greenland
is that
is
Gerard Butler?
phenomenal. Yeah, no, that movie is fucking really good because they try to make it super realistic. Like he gets like a push notification on his phone. He's like, I don't know why I was picked, and then like they gotta go and they gotta. Anyways, it's a really good
The
movie.
last
But
Hutch movie recommendation, I couldn't have disliked more.
But we skip past the space thing. I feel
Okay.
like everybody's always talking about Mars,
Mhm.
which is important. But like we went to the moon and we didn't do anything with it. The moon is big enough and close enough that if we wanted to run like dry runs, all right, how are we going to build this dome? How are we going to grow stuff? How are we going to do X, Y, Z? Are we going to transport the right kind of, it's a good thing we did it here first to kind of play test it, the scenario before we delivered all this to Mars. Why don't we do something like that? Nobody's fucking with the moon anymore.
I think it's because a lot of the practice stuff they can do, as far as like living in domes and stuff, they do out in the desert. And
No, that's so stupid.
no, it's incredibly effective and
Go to the moon.
one thousandth of the cost. But it's more about the
By so
psychological
stupid,
stuff.
I think he means not nearly as cool. And
Yeah,
with that,
exactly.
you have no counter.
But the thing about going to the moon is like, what are you? You're not going to be sustainable on the moon because there's no liquid water at all, right? There's none, and there's no.
We'll just ship it up.
Well,
We'll make a
the thing
very
is,
long tube, right?
a space straw. That's called a space
Hear me
straw.
out. Hear me out. I've tried to teach you guys several times that poop and dirt are the same thing. So all you need to do is send up people and food, and they will make dirt. If you get a big enough colony, eventually the whole moon is covered with a couple inches of dirt, and you
Where
can
does
grow
the water
farms.
come from?
You would have to ship it up there.
Kyle,
create a
water just
divide
comes
to
from
pull it
the
from
sky.
space.
Silly.
Okay, well, there's no atmosphere on the moon.
I mean,
So Mars has frozen water though, and they think lots and lots of frozen
No
water.
atmosphere on Mars.
What's that?
There's no atmosphere on Mars, is there?
There's very little atmosphere on Mars because it doesn't have quite the iron core, and therefore it doesn't have the magnetic field. And solar winds blew it away 2 billion years ago or something.
All right. Well, regrettably, your explanation about the desert does make a lot of sense, but they're not understanding how to garden. Like if they're like every step is a jump. Like they're not getting the full experience of living on the moon, and nobody is psyched to see that. Nobody would watch the simulation TV show of it and want to donate any money. They could make a reality show. Fuck it, send Matt Damon, the real one, up there with all his potatoes and everything. He can try it on the moon first.
I don't want to
send
risk Matt
Damon
Damon.
up there.
Matt Damon's a national treasure. Send
Matt
that guy
Damon's been
from
on the
Breaking
downturn
Bad.
for a
Send that guy
long
from Breaking Bad who's just like him, so you don't
No.
risk him.
Oh, Meth Damon. No, Meth Damon does not look like himself these days.
I
You don't want
know.
to send him. I don't think they make a spacesuit for that gentleman anymore.
Even
He's
less
bad.
of a
Oh.
loss.
I mean, just send him into the vacuum of space for all I care. Like that guy's not gonna. His entertainment value has dropped below the threshold which I allow.
There was a Breaking Bad sequel. I don't know what to call it. A post Breaking Bad.
The movie.
Yeah, the movie. But I think the movie was a prequel, if I recall correctly. And it was confusing to me because Meth Damon looked 30 years older, yet was playing the prequel version of himself as a guy who didn't age well.
Do you remember the character Badger? The guy that had that really weird voice? We've got a guy in the Discord sounds just like him. We call him Badger.
I like it.
Oh, poor
Sounds
Jesse
just
Plemons.
like him.
If you search Meth Damon, he comes right up.
Of course he does.
Jesse Plemons. What
Yeah.
was it on?
No,
Friday?
I look. I'd love
If you
to see
search
them.
Meth Damon, Google auto completes it for you. It shows you his name. It doesn't just come up as a hit.
Oh man,
I'd love to see them do that. And look, here's the other thing that's really
Could have
cool to
been
me.
Matt
Like,
Damon, the same thing.
I would like to see boots on the moon. I would like to see some sort of maybe not a colony per se, but more like what they were actually doing in The Martian, where they were they went and stayed for 6 weeks or 2 months or something like that and did lots of science and they came back. I think that would be a really cool first step. But to me, the end goal with all of this is asteroid mining. There's so many resources in the asteroid field. It seems like if we could ever make it affordable to go up and come back and make the payload that you would bring back profitable, that would just be this insane business model. Where I remember watching a YouTube video about some asteroid, and they listed its value in dollars, and it might have been in the quadrillions. It was so absurdly expensive. Now something like that, I would imagine, would just ruin our economy.
Yeah, what would happen?
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that. But maybe don't mind that one.
Instead of mining the asteroid, couldn't you just put jets on it and push it towards Earth and then mine it when it gets here?
No. Well, no. Let's bring it. Yeah, we could bring it a little closer.
That's some of the ideas.
We're gonna
that's
land
some
it
of the
right
ideas
in the
for water.
property. I don't see a flaw with this.
Does that sound? I mean, if you could put something like that in our orbit, that would be cool.
Ooh, actually, that would be cool. But
If you could just put a little more real estate up there, really fuck up the currents.
The oceans.
Yeah. The whales would
All
love
the
that.
poor confused sharks.
Well, a lot of waves coming in today. Woo!
be
don't know
before
what
the
this
double
is.
moon.
So that would be interesting, but I don't think that we are anywhere. I think we're much closer to going to Mars and living there than we are to figuring out how to move an asteroid any significant amount.
Yeah. Well, Edward, how long would it take to get to Mars?
But aren't they gonna be steps of the same thing? Because isn't one of the benefits of Mars is then you start having a base that's 6 months further into the system, and you have another base of materials, another base of fuel, so you can do things like stage from there. So
That
aren't
is
you
the
going
Expanse.
to?
Yeah.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
thanks. But the science fiction that we are, we're extrapolating into the future of what we could be doing as a species is somewhat based on the potential realities of that. And if we're talking asteroid mining, that having a Mars base or having a presence on Mars is going to make that easier, right?
Sure, but you would have to have a real presence on Mars. It couldn't be that shoestring shit where it's like, let's hope nobody
be Matt
pops
Damon
the
growing
bubble or
potatoes.
we
That's not
all
gonna help
die
anyone.
in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's all the honor system to not ruin everything. You go to bed hoping nobody's a sleepwalker and they poke their nose through into the outside and you're sucked away. Or however space works.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would immediately, all the air would go and it would seal you like when you vacuum seal old food you're going to throw in the freezer. Might do that.
Maybe.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
I watch it.
I'm right.
I'm fascinated with this stuff. It might be my favorite subject right now. I watch so much. There's a couple of really good YouTube videos that with astrophysicists and authors, and they'll have other authors come on and do these 2-hour long podcast discussions about what would happen if aliens came to our solar system, what their motivations might be, what the move would be. Do we contact them? Do we fucking duck and cover? What do we say? What might they do? How might they react? What if they
shouldn't
come
even
and start
be
harvesting our
strategy.
sun?
There's
Stuff like that.
If they show up here, they can do it. There's no defense we have. If they could get here, we're fucked.
How do you know that though, right? Because so one thing that I think is interesting about imagining how life would have evolved on another planet is we already have this We're like, oh yeah, this is how things work. Everything it's the survival of the fittest. Everything just fights and kills. And like our ancestors fought and killed each other, and the strongest one survived. And they made more super strong ones, and they fought and killed the others. And well, yeah, my ancestors were French. We fought the British for generations and generations, hundreds and hundreds of years, and we fought and killed each other. And there was a stalemate. Yeah, and we imagined that everybody was like that. Everybody is warlike. Like, what if they're just completely pacifist? What if they evolved from some sort of a creature that was just like, yeah, we can all get along here. Like there's plenty for everybody. And they show up and they have no concept of militarism. They've got faster than light travel, but they're just a bunch of pussies. And they show up and they don't even understand lies, right? And we're just swindling them out of their like advanced technology.
This is the absolute best scenario. If a bunch of rich idiots show up and we get to fool them, but like a really dominant species isn't going to evolve if they're just I don't need that
concept of don't understand lies is one of the central themes of Three Body Problem. The alien race that we're fighting communicates via like, I don't know, we'll call it reading each other's thoughts, right? It's some sort of radio telepathy type thing. I don't think they call it that. But in any case, since we're so connected and I know what you're thinking, there's no concept of lying, which means that in terms of like military strategy, they're a little naive and unable to deal with some of the ways that we handle war.
I think of us
episode of that earlier today, and like that Indian woman who has sounds like she has a vocal cord problem. There was some some scientist being like, well, the Martians, their transfibulator is cross-fluxing with the capacitor. And I, like in my head, like as I'm like pacing around my basement, I'm watching, I'm like, I just real quick, I just say like, stop it with your techno jargon. And like she goes, get your techno jargon out of here. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I checked 3 seasons in, it stops being a sci-fi show. And so I expect the dialogue to maybe get a little better after that, because there is some silliness.
Who says it stops being a sci-fi show?
What? No, it'll keep being a sci-fi show. I thought
that's what you just said.
I heard it too. 3 seasons in, it stops being a sci-fi show. So I expect
Sci-Fi Network.
There you go.
Being sci-fi starts being Amazon Prime.
Amazon. You got those Bezos bucks, right? And not only have the Bezos bucks, you've also got like Bezos censorship, which is almost none. We don't get titties, and I'm upset with that because zero gravity titties are my fantasy, right?
You know the least realistic part. I'm like in the middle of season 2. The least realistic part about this show is that everybody is not Chinese.
Yeah, they're all a mismatch. Like that's what I really like about the Belters. Like they've got their own language. Boss man
mishmash, and I like how it's like all the different groups like that previously and like ages gone by would have been in each other's throats, but now they're all allied by this different paradigm. But it is funny being like, oh, the year 2400. Yeah, China's in like century 3 of having won by then. Like they're
really putting a lot of faith in China. Like I feel like you can't call who's going to be the winner 300 years from now. Would you have been able to call that 300 years ago?
Yeah, I'm very smart.
Oh, well. That's not what your Twitch chat said.
So what was going on in 1721? I would imagine the global power would have been 1721. I would imagine the global power would have been what? The
English and French, right?
France and England.
What?
Maybe I'm Western focused.
Yeah, we're being Western focused, but what was the
Ottoman Empire or something?
What was that trading company that was like the biggest business?
Oh, the East India Trading Company.
The East India Trading Company, was that around the time period of that? Like those guys would have been super powerful. Yeah. In any case, what I'm saying, I'm agreeing with Woody that like it's not over till the fat lady sings. I don't know. You know, China is definitely running away with it right now, but we'll see. You know, in any case, but don't bring modern day geopolitics into our fun, futuristic sci-fi talk. I don't need that depression.
I didn't think people were going to take my joke serious.
I took it very seriously. Do you know
every word?
Do you know how many coal plants they're making right now, Taylor?
I do like it's something about the Expanse. I like the way they just kill people isn't very brutal. I mean, it's scary to get sent out into space, but it's like the simplicity of it is even worse than being like tortured. Yeah. Like Like there was some scene where this like Chinese guy who's like a belter is trying to get into a airlock room, and then some goofy ass skinny guy is like, "Hey, don't go in there, bud." And then he closes the door, and then he's like, "Goodbye, wife," or whatever, sister. I wasn't paying attention to the relation there. And then sucked out, dead. Very spooky. Like knowing that you have like how long? A minute, 2 minutes to live. Just like
I don't think we know exactly.
But they would know because they do it to a lot of people.
They would know. There's a really cool scene. I don't think this is a spoiler. In the newest season, which just ended, there's a really cool scene where a character pretends to space themselves. They pretends to commit suicide, but like, and as they're just about to like lose consciousness, they shoot themselves up with some sort of like, I don't know, blood oxygenating agent.
Air straight into the bloodstream. Yeah.
They inject themselves with this like hypo spray thing, and their goal is to go like wearing fucking street clothes and jumping from one spaceship to the other and like going in the airlock. And it's a really cool fucking scene. And when that character like makes it and gets in the other ship, they're super fucked up. They're just moaning in pain and just like they're literally going like just like they got like frostbite on their cheeks and stuff. Like they're super fucked.
Yeah.
But it's a cool fucking scene. It's one of the coolest like, I don't know, space scenes I've ever seen. Like you could have a million fucking spaceships twirling around shooting blue and green shit at each other like the Star Wars movies, and I'm just like yawn. But you've got like one badass character who's like, fuck this shit, I've got a mission to do, and they like climb out an airlock and jump between spaceships, and I'm just like, oh, this is so fucking cool.
Who's your
this is the
favorite
best
character in the show?
Man, I really like the white guy who's like real like built, who's on the spaceship, who's always like
Amos. He seems to just really like fighting people, sometimes for no reason at all.
Oh, he's got reasons. Amos grew up as a child prostitute being used by men. He's got a real
that hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah, he's got a real chip on his shoulder. But I think we might
come to light?
I think we might know why Amos has been pumping iron all these years. He doesn't want that shit going down again. But I think he is actually bisexual. So yeah, years of child. Yeah, he only hooks up with women that I've seen. That's one of the few sex scenes that I've seen, and it's just like we get like this much butt crack, like more than like broadcast TV butt crack, but like less than like not enough butt crack. Right?
Does he have a nice ass?
There is some sex in the early
Not
part
his
of the Expanse, right?
Oh,
It's not his ass crack. The lady's on top of him. In any case, yeah, I like the Expanse a lot. The newest season was pretty good. I think they've got the only part of like what they're doing that is beyond our technology is their like space drive, the thing that's making their ships go so fast.
They have that dam that's huge, and I guess it produces electricity, and they made a giant lake. It's like the world's biggest dam project that's ever been. It's kind of interesting. That belt and loop thing they're doing is crazy. Is that what it's called? The belt and loop?
I'm not familiar with this project.
Let me get the name.
I know about the dam because I remember like when they started construction on that dam. It's seemingly
Road.
15 years ago or something like that. It was like, yeah, China's been building the biggest dam that's ever been built, and they were explaining that like they had to move people obviously because when you make a dam, you make a lake, and they made this gargantuan fucking lake, and everybody was having to be relocated.
It changed like major parts of China's landscape. This is the Belt and Road Initiative. Let me put it on the screen. I don't know if I can make the picture better, but they're basically putting a road system across Asia. Right? It's going to connect like the Middle East, Europe, India, Asia, and then if you look at this picture, the orange ones are roads and the blue ones are just like sea routes. And basically it makes China the center of the trade world. And they're just like, hey, we'll build roads to whatever, Africa or something. And now as these places grow and their economies boom, they're tied into China in a really central way.
China's already conquering Africa pretty consistently. Are they going to conquer us in our lifetime?
Yeah.
Are we going to lose that
They
fight?
are. I used to wonder, like, how those poor Brits slept at night, knowing they were the world's biggest empire, and now they're not. Well, I'll be finding out in the next 15 years or so how to sleep at night, knowing that you've been surpassed.
I remember thinking that too, like reading about the fall of Rome and things, and just like, being like, man, but there had to be like people living in that day had to be like, yep, any fucking year now it's gonna go tits up. And then like I was thinking about the US and it's like, oh fuck. I think we crested in like the 50s or 60s and we are in the last bit of the American empire now. Like if you want to call us an empire.
I think post Cold War was maybe our peak. You know, there was only one superpower in the world, and it was us. It was us and Russia, and then it wasn't really Russia. And there it is, somewhere in the 90s, maybe. You know, the dot-com boom perhaps could have been our peaky peak. And now,
could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope the Chinese are nice, but I know they're not going to be.
I, for one, welcome our
Chinese,
new overlords.
they're like the most ethnocentric people on Earth, the Chinese. Like, they even hate Chinese people from other parts of the country. They're like, oh, you're from that nasty part of China. I'm from the place where the air only gray, not black. Like, but yeah, it is crazy. It seems like that's going to happen. Like, Russia doesn't seem like a threat at all.
No,
Like,
Russia is alternatively like the scariest white people on the planet and seriously fucking incompetent.
On an individual level, they are the scariest white people on the planet. Maybe the scariest people on the planet. Like, they seem to be very good at fighting those Russians and Eastern Europeans. But on a governmental level, I feel like they're a lot more of a paper tiger than people here will have you believe. Whereas, you know, I've heard people say, oh, China's a paper tiger too economically, but I'm too retarded to delve into that. I don't know. So, but I'm definitely more afraid of China than Russia, no question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm way outside my depth here, but it's my understanding the way we won World War II was not that we had the coolest tech, it's that we had the greatest manufacturing. All these automotive plants started churning out run-of-the-mill tanks, and it's like, yeah, every German tank takes out 6 American ones. Fortunately, we can build 10 for every German tank they can build. And we won the war. We won the war by pumping out ships and tanks and guns, and everyone was armed. We did it. Now, if it comes to a battle of attrition, a serious how do you win a war, can we outproduce China at making stuff?
At this point right now, not a fucking chance.
Yeah. So
no way. Like that was an interesting thing about like World War II, and I was looking into it years ago because like your main perspective aside from documentaries and things about the battles is just, you know, your school, like what they tell you, and it's like, oh, and the Allies won this battle and Germany won this battle and this and that back and forth. But then I didn't know they have like a ranking system for how well individual units did, like certain armies versus other armies as far as casualties, battles won. I don't know all the methodology behind it, but they had that ranking. And when I was like clicking on that article, I was thinking it would be like, oh, USA, Britain, Germany, France. Like I thought it would be a mix of like the top 10 best. Nah. Germany. Like it was like insane to be like, holy shit, we literally won because we kept throwing stuff at them with our manufacturing ability. That we overwhelmed them with that.
I don't know if I can poke holes in this, but were the Germans beating British and Americans and Russian?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't just them. They didn't pump up their stats by rolling through noobs like Poland and France and such.
Oh no, these weren't like German stats. These were like the post-war.
But
stats.
you see where I'm coming from, right? Like anyone can invade the Dutch and pump up and get a great like kill to death ratio.
I think the future of that, like the next big leap, is being able to mine an asteroid and maybe bring it close enough that you have this. You could go fetch an asteroid and bring it into like our orbit or something and just be up there mining it at close orbit at your leisure and sending whatever the raw materials back to Earth.
You think that would like destroy like Earth's economy? Like imagine that we do that and we pull it off and it's a meteorite or asteroid with
literally the most precious metal.
as much gold as is on Earth or something.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought because I've heard them like talk about asteroids that would be like that. That would be so rich in rare Earth materials, like things that here are very rare, but wouldn't be perhaps in an asteroid.
$1 trillion asteroid, right?
It'd probably it'd become like the De Beers Corporation, where like whatever company owned the gold infinite supply would just release it in such a slow, measured supply that they could artificially inflate the price.
And that's kind of the whole point of the Expanse, right? That you know, you've got those guys out there mining the asteroid belt and sending the raw materials back to Earth and Mars, the inner planets. But they've just built cities on the bigger asteroids, and they're flying around mining them all the time. No, I think that's like the next. If humanity lives for another 100 or 200 years. I think that's our next big thing is mining asteroids. It has to be.
Probably that
like
before colonization, I would think. Yeah.
It'll
I
drive.
would like,
it would drive colonization. It would be
Yeah,
like a
it
gold
would
rush. It would be like a gold
help
rush
develop
for space. The same
Yeah.
way. The same way the gold rush drove so many people from the east and the west to California.
Imagine this: 0-calorie food.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Like the applications of space travel. If they came up with 0-calorie food,
Like a pill
that
you take and it
you
has
could
all the
eat
nutrients.
They
anything
make
you
zero
want.
calorie food. It just sucks.
Well, on the 0-calorie.
Have you heard of
food.
celery?
Yeah, not celery. Like steak, 0-calorie steak, 0-calorie shrimp, 0-calorie surf and turf. There's more
Crap.
than just steak and shrimp, but that's what I'm thinking about.
Keep naming
right now.
foods.
So what's the purpose of zero
Steak,
calorie?
shrimp.
What's the purpose of it? Like, so you don't have to.
I think he just
burn
wants to
energy
have a
in
big
space?
meal.
It's so you can overindulge and not feel bad about it.
I thought that was.
Oh, so like
something.
literally not. I thought this was like you were saying. For us to get deep into
How
space,
about
we're gonna
this,
have to make
Taylor?
this zero
All right.
calorie. But no, this is just for shits and gigs, huh?
This is just about like if they could do that, think of the marketing potential. Who would have to be sold
got
on
one better.
0-calorie food? No one. Everyone would
Not
be
if it
eating
tasted
it.
good.
So you know how you ever see one of those cows that has the port in its side so that you can see its digestive system?
Yeah.
No,
No.
I've seen clear sides on motorcycles, so you can see
I've
how
heard
they
of
work.
that,
Is
They
it
do
like
this to
that?
cows too. So
Really?
they
They
cut a hole.
like a vinyl window on a cow.
Almost.
heard of this.
They cut a hole in the side. Show us a picture, Zach. Look up cow with port inside. That'll do it. That'll.
Cow skylight.
But they have this. They got this hole in the side with like a plug, so they can like pop the plug out and reach in and like be like, "This is how the cow's stomach works." You see, I think that what
my
you
God.
want.
This is true.
Zach's about to show us. What you want is one of these, Taylor. And you
Oh
want one
my
of these
God.
ports
Are you
where your
fucking
belly button
kidding me?
is. And every time you have a meal, you just take your shot back and you stick it in the port, and you suck the meal back out of your stomach, and then you go right back to dinner. Okay.
See, this is-
and I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. I don't want a port in my belly button, but where they're going to come in 8
Whatever.
different styles. I got an 8 ball. Okay. Mine looks like an 8 ball, and
Sick.
it's styled, and this is called sixpackforyou.com. I install them.
Can I have like a
maintain
skull
them.
and can I have a skull and crossbones on?
option
Yeah.
3, yes.
That's like a
that's
heart made out of
cool.
a domino.
I thought this
I like
idea was
that.
stupid until I imagined my belly button replaced with one of those ship's wheels with all the prongs out the side.
Now we're
thinking.
Now
Yeah.
then,
And you're gonna feel stupid
Straight
until you're
Popeye.
10,000 calories into a feast, and it's all just being fed into a bucket that you then
you
go
can
donate
eat until
for
your
tax
teeth
write-offs.
hurt.
what the fuck is with
That's
these cows?
crazy.
That one's leaking out
Yeah.
his port.
Yeah, it's
not
greasy.
leaking.
It's because they put diesel in it.
that's a diesel powered cow.
That cow looks miserable.
That's
Oh my
not miserable. It's
God.
got hay.
I'm,
Yeah, you're
I'm
right.
Steve-O, and this is put sugar in your cow's gas tank.
This cow's totally not going to work anymore.
Wait for Farmer John to come out.
So the purpose of this, in my experience, has been for an educational type thing, so that you can show the multi-chambered heart stomach of a cow and how it ruminates and digests and everything. It was part of school. We looked at a cow and the guy reached inside of it and got some goo out and showed us the goo, and
And it doesn't hurt the cow at all.
oh no, we all took
This
turns fucking it.
This really
Word.
does look
No,
evil.
no, nothing like that. That looks evil
I
to
think it'd
you.
be uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
The cows love it. They love it when you. They like it when
Tell
you
you that?
scratch them behind the port. A lot, but mostly space stuff. I saw they land. So a few years ago now, they landed on an asteroid and took samples from it, like rocks and dirt and dust. And I think they like land and then immediately popped off, is the way the system worked. And,
Okay.
that arrived back like last week or something, and they're testing it now. So there's samples here in Atlanta they're going through right now. It's pretty neat.
it's in
They
Atlanta.
yeah, I think at the CDC. They landed on an asteroid in fucking space. They went out and got it, grabbed some pieces of it, flew them back home, and they're here now. And they're looking for, I don't know, the chemical composition, I suppose.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine there's life on an asteroid.
Could be. I mean, like if you had some sort of bacteria or something in a rock, and then another rock hit that rock and blew it off into space or something, or if what they
I'm
always
just stuck
talk
on the
about
lack
is
of
this.
atmosphere. Do they have life?
Oh,
without-
it would just freeze the back. It'd be like frozen in a rock, though, right? Like It wouldn't be like living on there, like living the asteroid life, looking around or anything. It'd be like some little cells that are frozen in crevices in the rock in the middle or something.
Oh, I didn't consider dead life.
Like those worms
I'm
they
not sure if
find
that's-
in Antarctica.
Ice
That then
caps or
they
something,
thaw them
yeah.
out and like bring them back to life. They've done that a few times with the worms, with viruses that they found that are just dead. They're not moving, and they thaw them out. Oh, now we've got it alive again. And then what was the other thing they did it with? Oh, seeds. They found. I always found it interesting. They found these seeds. One example I know for sure is the anasazi beans. They found them in these clay vessels in southwestern United States, and we didn't have any anasazi beans. They didn't exist. They'd gone extinct. But there they were in these vessels. So they got them out, germinated them, and now you can buy anasazi beans. They're basically black-eyed peas that look red, and they don't taste that good if you're being honest. I bought a bunch. I was like, I want some.
Yeah.
And, I've still got them. But they've done that a bunch of times, found seeds in those old clay vessels from Egyptian times and stuff, and then brought them back, fig trees and stuff like that. So, yeah, I guess there could be some bacteria living on that rock that got blasted off into space and is frozen, just moving around through space.
The beans and seeds thing having a history is cool to me. To bring it back to corals and fish, like, so what happens is sometimes in the hobby, some legend of the hobby will go scuba diving. And here he is in Hawaii or off the coast of Africa or Australia or whatever. And he sees a coral that's cool. So he breaks a piece off of it and he flies it home with him. And now this thing is like smaller than a baseball, but he grows it out and he gives pieces to this guy and that guy. And then it grows out some more and it's cool and it looks good like in a tank. And it grows more and more and more. And then like, whatever, 25 years goes by and this thing has spread through like everybody's tank in America. It's this legendary thing. And this guy now is like old and fat and like, 67 or something. And he's got this picture of him in Hawaii with a full head of hair looking young, like the day he found it. And it's like the legendary story of the Oregon tort or whatever. And I'm like, I want one. I have one. It's called a red planet. Like there are different corals that are like legendary and they're common. Like it's just neat. I like the history of it.
Yeah.
It came from here.
I don't know what kind of organism coral is. Are those mini plants that live together?
It's an animal. And Zach, can you pull up a picture of like an acropora, Acropora? And it's an animal. It has a calcium skeleton in it, and every polyp is an animal. It's like a separate organism. And they're connected by their skin, so they can share some level of nutrients and stuff that goes throughout. And let me see what he gets. Oh, perfect. That's a great one. Yeah. So if you look like at the bottom center, there's like a little green polyp. That's what that's called.
And they're different animals, each one? Or are they genetically identical?
We're looking at, I don't even know, like 100 different animals in this thing. Every polyp is its own animal, but they can share nutrients. And they have algae inside called zooxanthellae, and that's photosynthetic. So when you shine the light on it, the photosynthetic algae has a symbiotic relationship, gives energy to the animal, as well as the animal also catches like little debris and tiny bugs and stuff that come floating by. So,
fascinating.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I guess what I was wondering is whether it was a collection of individuals or one enormous one, the way that some kinds of like fungus can
mushrooms and fungi. Yeah.
And things like that are weird. It's like, is that thing conscious? Is it down there thinking about stuff?
No, it doesn't have a brain, and its mouth and butt are the same hole, but it is an animal.
Oh, I don't mean coral. I meant the fungus.
Oh yeah. I hear people wonder about like, I guess there's some level of communication that happens in a network of fungus or fungi.
Yeah.
But it's tricky because the people who talk about it are usually really into psychedelics.
Yeah.
So it's like you are both a subject matter expert and an unreliable source. Yeah. And I don't know what to make of it. You're trying to convince me that like Mother Earth is communicating under the forest in this like network of mushrooms.
I'm open to it though. Like the idea that maybe it doesn't exactly think the way we do, but in some way it's conscious and capable of at least some sort of like, I don't know, reactionary, like, oh, this hurts, sort of, I don't know. Maybe some sort of thought process. Someone was talking about ants on a podcast I was listening to. I guess their brain is 35% of their body, and ants do all sorts of crazy things. Those network tunnels, and
I'm sure Tierzu, the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's fun.
Amazing content, by the way. You guys got a really good concept for a channel, and he talks about what makes animals successful, and so much of it is cooperation. I mean, it's the essence of humans. We're pretty big, but we're not stronger. Really, what we're good at is thinking, working together, and passing. And our long lives allow us to like pass down generational knowledge and learn more. If we died in a year, we wouldn't learn much. So back to ants, their socialization has made them one of the most successful animals on the planet. Organisms, I should say. Insects are not animals, right?
They're animals.
They are in the what is it? What's the top
animal
one
kingdom?
called?
Animalia.
Animalia? No, not phylum. The
kingdom.
Kingdom. There we go. Man, it's been a long time since third grade.
Insects are animals. That's why, like, long ago, I was like, I don't think I want to do bug fighting because it seems like animal fighting, and maybe someone would get in trouble somehow. But someone did do it. It's super popular now. I keep getting these videos of scorpions and spiders fighting.
Really?
I still watch those.
Yeah, they're definitely
cool.
Yeah, they're gruesome. The main problem with that, I don't want to house those creatures in my home. Not even a little.
Oh no, that's a YouTube thing. Like, you don't want a Japanese murder hornet. I mean, actually, the one where it's the murder hornet versus that giant praying mantis.
Oh,
like a praying mantis wouldn't be rough to have around because it wants nothing to do with you. Like it's
I'll pick those up
flies.
and like help them out when I see them in the woods and stuff. They won't hurt you. They're pretty chill.
Wait, praying mantis don't hurt you at all? I've touched them too, but I thought they really bit you.
They're so chill that it almost seems like they know you're being chill. They're like, hey, buddy, come here. And you can like pick him up. And he's just kind of, all right, what are you about, dude? What are you about? I know he's probably just freezing because he thinks as long as he sits still, I won't hurt him. But he just sits there and they'll let you pick him up and look at him. And like they watch you like they're animals, but like a smart animal. You can see its pupils. And it will follow you around. And you're like, dude, are you serious right now? All right, get the fuck up in that tree. Leave me alone. Good day to you, sir.
Good luck out there in the wild. I wish
I had
you the
a bird
best.
do that to me today. We had a bird. Jackie was taking the trash out, so the kitchen door was open for like an entire minute. Bird flies in the house, and I hear these like scream, "Woody, there's a bird in the house!" But as she's saying that, the bird comes flying into the Game of Thrones room. And he's like doing laps around there. He eventually we have a door with like this glass window over it. And he bumps into it and he's on the ground, but he's alive. So now I can get him, right? And I sort of catch him. I pet him gently. And I think he was stunned, but also figured out I'm not about killing him. If this guy wanted to kill me, I'd be dead by now. And I picked him up and I put him outside and we named him Falcon Food, and I don't know what happened after that.
Well, he dazed, got eaten by a hawk.
It could be.
That does appeal to me a little bit.
Eating hawks?
Getting a falcon and sicking it on pigeons.
Please get into falconry.
Falconry, because there's a small airport not all that far from me, and it's like, man, I bet they could use a falconer out here. Take care of those pigeons, keep them out of the way of the planes and such. Keep them out the airfield.
You think you would do? I bet that your first job in falconry isn't at the busiest airport in America. Yeah.
Oh, not that one. There's a small airport nearby. There's a lot of airports around Atlanta.
They'd be like, sir, why don't you just use a rifle? I don't talk about that.
Oh, that's the easy way.
He's the worst airport supervisor getting rid of birds ever. Number one, he's using rifles. He's firing 308 on deep into
and chimney sweeps. We lost 3 planes this week.
It's like, no, you cannot bring your punt gun.